Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Casting Seeds. I'm Savannah, your host.
Jeremiah, your co-host.
And you're listening to the only holistic health podcast that uses God's singular truth to give you individualized discernment. We have a surprise today. Do.
What's the surprise?
We are doing a Q&A. Woohoo!
Okay.
You're not excited?
I don't do theme songs.
You're not excited at all for the Q&A?
No, I'm excited for the Q&A. Who's the Q&A for?
Our listeners.
Okay. And who are they from?
Our listeners.
Okay, and who's answering?
Us.
You or I?
Us.
Us. Okay.
You and
It's
I.
gonna be fun. So apparently there's some questions I can answer.
Oh
Get
my
ready,
gosh.
people.
But what's fun is this is our second episode, for those of you who don't know, of Q&A.
Nice.
Episode number 2, Q&A. And it's been a long time coming because we've had a lot of episodes since our first batch of Q&A questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what's exciting is that this is our second round of Q&A questions, which is nice because it's been a really long time since our first Q&A batch. Do you remember some of those questions? Remember there was one question where someone asked you about like leading, whether or not you felt like you were leading this podcast truly. Do you remember?
Yeah. Yeah, vaguely. I remember that.
Yeah, people asked a lot more personal questions. We do have a few here.
Well, before we jump into that, we should probably give a little update on Candida. I'm sure your listeners.
On me? Oh, from last week? Yeah, just a smidge of an update. We're taking the first stage of our protocol, and there were quite a few questions about Candida in general. We didn't want to get into those because we'll have a full separate episode once, at each stage of the process. We are only a week into our first stage, so
Yeah.
it's going to take a while to get there. We also have some awesome interviews coming up that you guys are going to be listening to as well, along with us finishing our biblical herb series.
Yeah.
So we have we have a treasure trove of things to get through. But for me, I mean, you can probably still tell I'm a little nasally. I still have my UTI-like symptoms because it never fully goes away. But I am fixing it with all sorts of remedies. And the most embarrassing one being my sister called me out the other day. She was like, you told all the whole internet you're putting garlic cloves inside of you. And I was like, yeah, it's been the only thing that has gotten rid of my UTI pain because garlic gets rid of yeast. So, yes.
That's crazy. What do you think of those drying herbs?
Which drying herbs?
What is it called? What's the oil that we've been taking?
Oregano oil?
Oregano oil.
So,
That's brutal.
Yeah. Just to let you guys know, we do not ingest essential oils.
No.
We've discussed that before in earlier episodes. Oil of oregano or oregano oil is totally different and also already intense. So, but yeah, it's horrible. It's the worst. I feel like I smell like Italian pasta and it's disgusting. So
you actually don't smell anymore.
I know my clients also said I don't smell at all, but I think everyone's just being nice.
No one's actually being nice or telling you.
I know, but I just feel like everyone is.
Okay.
Well, let's get to the questions. But besides that, I'm okay. I'm doing okay.
It's good to hear. I like updates.
So our first question is from blank space 0709. This person says, I think I may have Candida, but I'm not sure. What are all of the symptoms? I want to note that before Jeremiah lists off some symptoms, I'll make some comments. But the first thing is that if you have 3 or more of these symptoms, you are 80% likely to have Candida. The second thing is 80% of people who have Candida out of 100, they are undiagnosed. They go undiagnosed without it. And many Western doctors do not recognize Candida as an actual ailment or issue.
What could it be confused with?
Celiac, Crohn's, IBS, PCOS. What's the other one that people get?
Regular UTI.
Yes, just UTIs. Because normally they just look for the bacterial, not the yeast.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to ask for that. And the yeast one, of course, costs a lot more. Endometriosis. That's the one I was trying to say. Quite a few like miscarriages, a bunch of things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just be like, it happens. So also chronic bad breath. There are lots of things. But I'm going to let Jeremiah answer your question, blank space.
All right. So if you're craving sweets or wanting sweets or need sweets, no, I'm kidding. All right. So my list will be specifically for Candida and internally only. Symptoms will vary depending on different areas of the body that are affected. Common signs include oral thrush, white patches in the mouth, yeast infections, itching, discharge, and inside of the genitalia area, fatigue, digestion issues, skin rashes, and craving of sweets.
Yeah, so see how like a lot of that's really general. So digestive issues literally could be
Anything.
anything and everything. And that's the thing. Skin rashes, itchiness, oral thrush. Oral thrush can be many different variants. It can be from a light white coating in your mouth all the way to yellow, green. People even have like a dark color, sometimes like an orangey color or a red color that coats their tongue. And then also Candida can come up in consistent rashes. So when people think that they have eczema could be a partial form of Candida as well. So there are lots of different things. And it comes out through your skin. Like Jeremiah and I struggle with vitamin D deficiency. So our skin gets dry and flaky when we don't have enough vitamin D. And we have a vitamin D and vitamin B deficiency because we have Candida, because our gut cannot absorb the proper amount of vitamin B or vitamin D, no matter how much we're taking. It's almost like you have to take more and more and more just to be able to slightly get by.
It sounds like the reason why I have low energy levels.
Yeah, it makes you tired. It makes you, people are more quick to anger because of it. It can cause depression. It can cause anxiety. There are so many things that Candida can cause. So if you have even just a handful of those symptoms, it would be good for you to get checked. Or, listen to that last episode that Jeremiah and I talked about where I explained how I figured out my Candida and how I got the proper diagnosis for myself.
And how do you feel after just taking a cup like what we're on right now? Like, do you feel a difference in your body?
I feel less tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel less tired, but I do feel less bloated. And
Oh my
I
gosh,
do
yeah.
feel a lot, what's the proper English for this? More dry.
Yeah. Everyone has told me that it looks like you and I lost weight. People literally think that I've lost like 20 pounds, just even in my face alone. And no, I mean, yes, I have. When I went on the scale,
Yeah.
I had lost 10 pounds altogether.
Something like that. And I lost about 6.
Imagine you guys that much inflammation that we lost within the past week. 10
Yeah.
and 6 pounds of just inflammation. I mean, I'm sure there's some fat that we lost as well, but that's how swollen and bloated we were and how exhausting it was. So
and we removed starches, all sugars, no dairy, nothing. There's like so much stuff that we removed out of our body.
yeah, but I hope that answered your question, blank space. And now we're on to question 2.
All right. What is it?
So this is by Kolag. I don't know. I don't know how to say this person's Instagram. I'm sorry. But this person says, "I'd love understanding the bees in your first episode of Biblical Herbs. What has grown your faith in the Biblical Herbs series so far?"
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. That's why I picked it.
I can't really think of anything for myself, but what do you have?
Yeah. Also, Jeremiah's just hearing these, so
Yeah,
it's
on,
kind
on
of
the
on
spot. Yeah.
Um.
I think like balm, like learning about balm and how it was used then, and then like thinking about balm now. That's probably one of mine.
Why?
Um, just because I thought balm was like just like a chapstick thing, like lip balm or like a
Okay.
hand balm.
Not sap.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like the sap or like for them to create the oil, like to pull the oils and actually use it as a mineral and stuff like that for vitamins.
Yeah, I think, I mean, as far as answering the question on how it's grown my faith,
Yeah.
Jeremiah and I both, when the more research we did, and we both have talked about this, the more we were just kind of astounded at how God, it just seemed like he's just so effortlessly intertwined the whole world together for it to make sense, whether it be through all of the really complex things from the Old Testament and how they did their sacrifices and, you know, like all of their festivals, or something as simple as like how to use medicine for us today. It all seamlessly intertwined so beautifully and so easily. And it just it just seemed like only a perfect God could make this so mathematically perfect. 1+1 = 2. Like
Yeah.
every single thing that he set up had a plan and a purpose. And that's why I like that this person mentioned the bees. You know, that was one of the things that was like, yeah, those bees weren't discovered until thousands of years later.
Yeah.
And that's how good God is. Like nothing in his word is a fable. So yeah, that's probably, it's sanctified us even more. And that's why we're excited to continue to go through that series and go through the Bible
Yeah.
with herbs.
I think it's a great point. And like God really, he created the earth. He told us to use the earth, to toil over it and to use the herbs, eat the food and everything. And just look how it regenerates and heals us.
Mm-hmm.
His creation is designed for our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Only a God could create that.
Only an all-loving
Yeah.
and perfect God. Yeah. So thank you for that question, Clog. I don't know.
What's the next question, love?
Okay, so the next one is actually from someone who's anonymous, and these questions are for you, Jeremiah.
Okay.
So I think it's a she. She's wondering how do I get my husband more interested in understanding his own body? Jeremiah, what excites you about holistic health, and how do you explain it to be biblical and not woohoo? I also want to note to this person that Jeremiah kind of answered a similar question like this last time. And I think it's interesting that every time we get questions, people want to know like your stance on it, because it's
Yeah.
clear what my stance is. So just to reiterate the question, Jeremiah, what excites you about holistic health? And how do you explain it to be biblical and not woo-woo?
I think the one thing that really excites me is the fact that we heal, and you know our bodies are constantly getting injured, getting sick, and to create that microbiome, like you have to actually study this and learn about your own physical body and learn how to heal it. And it's really fun to do it, especially with my wife. I think for most men, we tend to, if it does not hurt, like it's not like a level 9, we're gonna ignore it. You know, like we don't want to pay attention to it, because then we have to acknowledge that it hurts. Then we have to acknowledge that we have to heal it, and then we have to recover. And we just don't have time for that.
Let me just interrupt and say most men's 9 is like a woman's 4 on the pain threshold. But that's because our bodies were designed to literally take more pain.
Well, I mean, also our bodies are, I think men's bodies are designed to ignore pain.
Yeah.
Like
to get through,
yeah,
and to provide and fix, do all of the working things.
And then, what was the second part of that question? Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. And how do you explain it to be biblical and not woo-woo? I'm assuming that maybe this person, I'm just assuming, maybe their husband looks at some of it, like maybe he's more interested in allopathic medicine.
Yeah.
And he might be someone who like advocates like, hey, if God created allopathic medicine, Western medicine, it should be used. Which, by the way, Jeremiah and I we're not anti-allopathic.
Not at all.
But for her to be able to explain to her husband, how would you say holistic medicine is biblical?
So I would say that Jesus is holistic himself in the way he handles every situation when he was leading and guiding everybody. And I think a lot of Christians get stuck on what is it, like the law of things,
The Old Testament?
the Old Testament. Well, yeah. And like, if Jesus did everything holistically, then I don't quite understand how Christians could be like, this is not holistic.
What do you mean by
So,
Jesus doing everything holistically?
Prayers holistic, being in community is holistic. Like, this is all holistically healing. We are dying in our bodies, and the way we thrive, the way we heal is in community, is in service, is in prayer. This is how we be filled with the Holy Spirit, and through the Bible.
Being in the Word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, it is kind of hard, I think, to wrap your head around, because it's like, okay, well then how does holistic medicine fit into this? Well, throughout the entire Bible, they're using holistic medicine the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even have our science. They can't break down the molecules.
Well,
then.
that was science then.
Compared to
Nowadays,
now.
what I'm saying, nowadays it's being poo-pooed as unscientific, which is silly because botany itself is a science.
Well, where do they get their pills from? Fungi.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, they're using holistic practices to create their product, and then they're creating a new version of it that is manipulated, that they can mass produce, that they don't have to grow, which saves them money. So you're eating a fake byproduct that they've created, or a genetically modified product that they've created. So holistic health, you're getting the exact extract of the oil, you're getting the herb, you're getting the root, you're getting the leaf, you're getting the holistic side of it, which is the whole thing, not a subcategory of the nutrient out of that plant.
Well, yeah. So you want me to prove that? There was this girl the other day, this random like Karen lady who just attacked my Instagram for no reason.
We love Karens. Don't take offense if your name's Karen.
If your name's Karen, I love you.
We
and
have
I'm really
friends that
sorry
are-
this is a thing, but
Yeah.
there are, unfortunately on the internet, Karens are bad. So there was this older lady who just tried to like rip apart my Instagram for being holistic, because she is somebody who like does facial injections. And actually, if you guys saw, I
remember this.
Yeah, I put on my story, like, please pray for this woman. Like, it was one thing. She called me an ugly dog. She called me so many things, and she was so rude. And I'm really glad that none of it affected me. But I feel like another person could have like easily cried for the stuff that she said about me. And she goes under one of my comments and writes, ew, because I'm eating a flower when I had a fever. And I was like, what's ew about this? And she goes, just take the Tylenol. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're going to kill people.
Tylenol.
Yeah. Well, so then she goes, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I take real medicine like Tylenol. You should just take the Tylenol. You're going to kill people. And I was like, did you know that Tylenol is actually like a extremely, well, now it's synthetic, but it originally came from a compound of wood from a palm tree.
Yeah.
It came from trees originally. And I was like, so I just take the natural version of it. And then she didn't respond. She went to a new video. And I was like, this lady, she literally was trying to like find ways to like
sabotage,
poop on me. Yeah. And I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about. So to the anonymous person listening, I hope that your husband can listen to this and hear what Jeremiah had to say. But I hope that he's also encouraged to know that, I don't know if he's saved or not. I'm assuming that he is from this question. But it's also, the name of our podcast, it has to do with holistic discernment. And that's why we joke on here all the time. And even all of our Instagram handles, our dogs, Jeremiah and myself, it's all holistic, right? Because holistic health is individual discernment given to you by the Lord. And that's why we have our opener. and disclaimer that we have every single time.
Yeah.
Because holistic health, just the same way with your individual relationship with Christ, there's God's singular truth, and under that umbrella of his truth, there is individualized discernment that you can play in, in a beautiful way. Exactly. So, even if you decide to not listen to a Western doctor or decide to listen to a Western doctor, you're still using holistic discernment through the Lord. So be encouraged by that. And just know that Western doctors can also give diagnosis and you can move on from there. Are you ready for the fourth question?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. This is from Merkin Mama. America? Like Merca. Mama. Question about Erica's episode. What did you do to calm her panic attack as she was explaining her trauma?
Wasn't she drinking rose tea?
Not during that time, no.
Oh, okay. No, I
at the end.
Okay, it was at the end.
So I'll take the lead on this one. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's for me. Because we obviously edit these episodes, so you guys didn't hear the whole thing that she went through. One, for time, but two, that's traumatic for someone to go through, and you guys got to hear part of it from her Trauma to Triumph episode. But, the number one thing that we did was we kind of took a step back and told her that she didn't have to rush through it. We had her breathe. I think she lied down on the ground. Did she lay down on the ground at one point?
I don't think so.
No, I offered. Yeah. I told her that she could lie down flat on her back and just breathe for a moment and I would lay with her, but she said no.
She did use a recliner.
Yeah, she did kick back in her chair. But she was you could see her shaking, and even in her voice you could tell, and she did start crying. And honestly, the main thing that we did, because Erica is not a Christian, as you guys know from listening to that episode, I did start praying, internally. I didn't pray over her because I didn't want to make her uncomfortable, but I did pray for her, whether she liked it or not, because she's in my presence and I pray for her all the time and she knows that. But I prayed for her and we talked about it. I talked about what she was comfortable with, what she was ready to talk about, and if we needed to take a break, and we took it one step at a time. And that was it. But if you guys do want to know what I do recommend to clients who do have chronic panic attacks, I recommend, depending on how long or severe or how often your panic attacks are, chamomile tincture and rose tincture. Rose calms down the pericardium of your heart. So when that saying is like, why don't you stop and smell the roses? It literally makes you relax. And chamomile is a central nervous system relaxant. So the combination of the two calms you down physically and electrically, I like to say. So it calms down like your physical body and then the electrical part so that your brain gets to calm down, central nervous, like everything gets to calm down. And 5 drops equates to 1 cup of tea. If you're having a panic attack, a cup of tea is not going to do much for you. So a whole dropper, if you fill up a dropper, it fills up about halfway, and that equates to about 30 drops.
Yeah.
Normally, if someone's having a panic attack, I recommend 3 whole droppers of chamomile minimum, and then another 3 whole droppers of rose minimum. 6 altogether. And if you're not feeling it by then, the goal is to get you to a neutral. If you're having to take it to completely knock out, then that's another problem going on. And you should always see a doctor if you're having panic attacks, but you want to take enough where you start calming down and breathing and coming to a neutral. And I know because I've worked with Erica personally, that rose really did help her. So Jeremiah ended up making her rose tea to help her kind of reset. And to further go on to that question, I am interviewing someone. I was supposed to do it last Friday, but as you guys know, I was sick. I even had a fever. This Friday when I interview Katie, who is paraplegic, she doesn't cry or have any type of hardcore panic attacks, and she hasn't for years when it comes to her injury. Then again, hers I think was longer than Erica's. But I do think having faith in Christ and submission to him in the state that you're in, and I went through that. knowing that Katie gets to give that to the Lord in that way, I think mentally and emotionally, that's why Katie can tell her story over and over again without having panic attacks.
Yeah.
For Erica, I mean, I do pray that she does come to the Lord. I love her. She's someone that I adore in my life, and she's one of my best friends. And I do pray that she does come to the Lord. So this is a shout out for everyone to pray for Erica. Just, of course, salvation being the bare minimum, but then also for her to not panic every time she speaks about her story. So
I didn't know about that about roses, though. You can smell it and it'll calm your heart down.
yeah, just the smell.
It makes me think of what's that saying? Apple a day will keep the doctor away.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
No, it's not actually. It was created during like the whole speakeasy time, and they started saying that on television so that people would start eating the apples and not make it into alcohol.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so they'd stop apple cider.
Well,
I looked it up. It was the whole
that's
thing
crazy.
over, like, I think in Connecticut.
That's so funny. Well, I love apple cider vinegar is one of the best things for Candida, and I literally crave vinegar. So.
You always crave vinegar, and that actually makes sense now.
I honestly, you guys, I think I said this last week. I'm realizing my whole identity with food literally was centered around fixing Candida, because all the things that I loved, like broths, vinegars, hot food, like hot dishes and stuff, that was like really comforting. They're all good for Candida, and they help kill Candida. So my identity was just like Candida, I guess. Are you ready for the last question?
Let's do it.
Okay. This is by JWink3130.
Wink, wink.
Joink. Joink. When do you think you two are ready to start trying for kids again, and when? And how do you know when it's time to stop preparing?
Tonight. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. Actually, fun fact. Can I tell you guys a fun fact that sucks? When you're trying to kill Candida, it is not recommended. It's not recommended to make out in any way or have any sexual activity.
Silence. Crickets. Do I
Yeah.
have a cricket button? Because I have no excitement for this.
It's been a dry spell.
Play my small violin right now.
But the reason why is because you can spread it.
Yeah.
Through.
You just keep giving it back to each other.
Yeah. So Jeremiah and I literally pray for us, everybody. But when do you think it's ready to have kids? Okay, I'm going to answer the second question first. How do you know when it's time to stop preparing? It's never a good time to stop preparing. You're always preparing to have children, whether it's financially, physically. I mean, if you listen to our biblical sex series, we talk about how it's good to start years in advance, like 4 years is like optimal prime. So I would say it's never a good time to stop preparing, but it's always a good time to start preparing and to not let it rule your life.
Yeah.
You can always
live
prepare.
it.
Yeah.
Holistically.
Yeah. Live your life. But if you know you want to have kids, eat better, prepare your body for that so that your children have the best optimal choice of health.
Yeah.
Both male and female. And if you have more questions on that, listen to the series. And then how do you think when you two are ready to start having kids? Love, I'm going to let you answer that. When do you think that it will be good for us to start having kids?
Are you avoiding this question?
No, I'm going to, I'll comment, but.
Yeah. All right. I think we will be ready when we're ready, when God's like, here's a child. But I think when we will start getting back into the groove of our things. I
mean, we have to first be able to have sex.
I know. We'll wait until Candida's gone.
Yeah.
I think we will kind of test out our bodies, because we'll technically have a new body, and just see if it's actually gone, and like attempt to flare up our yeast.
Yeah. And
see if it comes back immediately. If it does, then, we'll do another cycle of this.
Yeah. The first cycle is 3 months. Like every time you do it, it's a 3-month process, and you have to start all over again if it's flaring up. And once you have Candida flare-ups, it's really easy to flare it up again. So Jeremiah and I... Sorry.
got yeast in her nose.
So, well, now I feel like it should go in there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, why? It's so annoying. Okay, I don't have yeast in my nose.
It's Candida. How do you know?
I keep randomly. Anyway, my body's inflamed. Okay, what was I gonna say? Oh, kids. I mean, we've. Okay, so let me just say, we need to go at least through one round and check, and then I have a feeling it's probably gonna at least take me a few rounds of this.
I'm praying that's not true.
And no, we're not gonna not be intimate the entire time. That's not gonna be possible by any means. But we're going to be safe and practice safe ways of making love to each other so that we can be together intimately, and I can provide for my husband that way and he can provide for me. And also, we are definitely going to try to make sure still that we do not get pregnant within this meantime so that we can have the healthiest children. And also, too, you guys know that we've talked about in the past that financially we've been struggling a lot in California. Not that we have to have finances settled in any way, shape, or form in order to have kids. God's going to give us children when he wants. But we would, like to make sure that we can be financially stable before that. So, yeah, that as well.
I agree.
Yeah. So whenever that happens, God's going to give us the discernment. And we are literally, that's been like our main topic of study for the past 3 months has been discernment. So that's where we're at. Do you agree with that?
I concur.
Okay, good. Well, before we embarrass ourselves more, we hope we answered your questions. And I'm really excited for this interview to come out next week with Katie.
Have you mentioned your store yet? Your Amazon store?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I have on the podcast, have I?
No, I don't think so.
I also have an Amazon storefront. Yay!
Yeah.
My Amazon storefront has literally every category you could think of non-toxic things, like swap lists that you could buy on Amazon. So all of the things from the toxin-free group, all of the things from someone sent me a mama website to add some stuff to. So yeah, I created an Amazon storefront because there were no holistic storefronts that I've seen. And I was exhausted having to go through articles and articles of people's crap and reading things over and over again and having to copy paste every time I wanted to buy something. So yeah, I finally found leggings and workout clothes. I'm so excited. And some non-toxic gym stuff.
What makes it non-toxic?
It has no PFAS and no harsh chemicals in the clothes.
Cool.
And things like that. There are shoes, there's food, great snacks. There's so many things. Hair care, beauty products,
soaps.
Yeah, there's so many.
Everything.
There's wellness products as well, even pillows, sheets, mattresses, literally anything and everything you can think of. There's a whole section just for babies and infants.
Do you have an arts and crafts section yet? Like a holistic type of stuff you can do?
Kids. That's under kids.
That's cool.
Not necessarily arts and crafts, but I'm slowly adding to it.
Yeah.
So if you guys also find anything that is or you want me to check stuff, because I check stuff, I can also do that. There's also all of the herbs that I buy are on there. All the medicines and tinctures and supplements, green powders, protein powders, all that kind of stuff.
Perfect.
It is a lot to go through. So just know it's cool because when you click onto my holistic.co store, you can actually search, not at the top, not in the Amazon top, but down below, when you're on the search bar, it will say, search Savannah store. So you can actually look up things specifically. Yeah. I also want to note as well that in the About Me bio, if you copy paste the link, you can get 20% off under me on Full Script. So if you sign up under my Full Script, I can give you 20% off, and you can get all of the stuff that you can't find on Amazon. You can get all of it shipped straight to your door through Full Script, discounted by me, and you have to be a practitioner to get that discount. And now you guys can have it. Just make sure you email me or message me on Instagram so that I can give you the discount once you sign up.
Nice.
But signing up is free, and you can have it for your friends and family. So discounts galore through me.
Thank you for doing all that research with Amazon. I know I'm using it also right now because I don't know all this stuff. And I jump on there and be like, hey, love, I need this. And she's like, look at the list. And I'm like, all right,
it's
I'm
so
gonna go
nice.
look at the different
Let me tell you,
smells
ladies,
and everything.
it's even nice too. Like I was like trying to find a good swap for my sister for her birthday. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can use this for gifts, like cups to drink out of, Tupperware, all the things. So
yeah, nice.
It's just it was a huge blessing for myself. And I was like, I'm going to share this with everybody.
Yeah. For all the ladies that are struggling with their husbands, just tell your husband, like, look at this link. We'll buy anything in this section.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you'll start changing his lifestyle without him even knowing it. It's just from Amazon. He doesn't know the difference.
Yeah, we just got our shampoo bars. We're trying shampoo bars that I found that are all natural. Weren't they supposed to come today, actually?
I have no idea.
Maybe
They're outside.
No, they're not. Would they be?
Yeah.
Did they come in today, Jeremiah? Did you put them in there already?
No.
Okay. Jeremiah cleaned the bathtub today, so I thought he was maybe surprising me.
No.
Okay.
They didn't come in.
Well, now you know how to surprise me.
We'll get packages in, and I'll just put the stuff away and not tell her it came in. And she's like, where's the package? Oh, it's already in there.
Yeah. He like surprises me, and I'll open up a drawer and be like, oh, that came. Anyway, so thanks for listening, you guys. And we hope you had a wonderful time listening to us just make a fool of ourselves on
podcast,
the internet.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. Love you guys, and we'll see you next week. Keep casting seeds.
Adios.
We hope you enjoyed learning how to cultivate God's creation from a biblical perspective. Holistic health is to prioritize whole person wellness through Christ. Like and comment on what topics we're casting seeds or casting pearls.
If you found this information provided useful, subscribe to our podcast for future updates, leave a review to help us improve, and share this episode. We would like to remind you before we leave that perfect health cannot be attained in this world.
Only spiritual salvation through sanctification and repentance to God and turning away from sin will give you a perfect body in the kingdom come. Nourish yourself in the Word, in prayer, and in biblical fellowship daily.
Thank you for joining us today, and a special thank you to our listeners for making this podcast possible.
Always praying.
Keep casting seeds.